I need to tell you about the worst job I ever took. A live-in babysitting job at a lake house for a family that paid almost double the going rate for exactly 10 weeks. Not 9, not 11, 10. And by the end of it, I understood exactly why that number mattered and why every nanny before me had vanished before reaching it. This happened 3 summers ago. I was 19, saving up for college, when I saw a flyer at a coffee shop. Live-in summer nanny, lake house, 2 hours outside the city. The pay was almost double what I made at my retail job. I called that same night. The mother introduced herself as Diane Calloway. Tired voice, but polite. She said she and her husband Mark worked remotely and needed someone to live on site for 10 weeks, watching their 8-year-old daughter Emily. I said yes before she finished explaining. The house was beautiful. Big windows facing the water, a dock, and a guest cottage 50 yards away where I'd be staying. Emily was quiet and sweet. She liked drawing. She liked swimming, but only in the shallow water near the dock. She never wanted to go near the boat tied at the end of it. I didn't think much of that. Lots of kids fear deep water. By the end of week 1, I noticed Emily never talked about her old house, her old school, her old friends. Every time I asked, she just said, "We don't talk about before." She said it the same way every time, like it was a rule someone had taught her, not a feeling she'd come to on her own. Week 2 is when the footsteps started. Around 2 in the morning, I heard slow, deliberate steps outside my cottage. Walking back and forth on the gravel path between the cottage and the lake, I looked outside. Nobody there, just the porch light flickering against the dark water. Diane laughed it off the next morning. "Raccoons," she said. "Maybe a deer." The footsteps came back. Not every night, but always between 1 and 3 in the morning. Always that same unhurried pace, like someone pacing while they thought something over, weighing a decision. I started locking my door at night, which I hadn't bothered with before. I told myself it was just a habit from living alone for the first time. I didn't fully believe that, even then. One afternoon, while Emily napped, I walked the dock alone. Carved into the railing, small, like done with a key, were 5 tally marks with a line through them. 6. I ran my thumb over the grooves. They'd been there a while, weathered, worn smooth at the edges. I didn't think much of it at the time. Kids carve things into wood. I should have asked Emily. I didn't. Week 3, I met the neighbor, Sandra, an older woman who walked her dog along the shoreline each evening. She asked how long I'd worked for the Callaways. 3rd week, I said. She went quiet, then asked, very carefully, "Are you the 4th one or the 5th?" I didn't understand. She clarified. "Nanny, are you their 4th nanny this year or their 5th? I told her I was the only one I knew of. Diane had never mentioned anyone before me. Sandra's face changed just slightly, the way someone's expression shifts when they realize they've already said too much. She called her dog and started walking off, but stopped just long enough to say one more thing. "Don't stay past week 10. Whatever you do." Then she was gone, before I could ask what she meant. That night, I asked Emily directly if there had been other babysitters before me. "Yeah, a few," she said, not looking up from her drawing. "What happened to them?" "They left." "Why?" She looked up at me then, and for the first time since I'd met her, she looked scared. Not of me, of something else. Something behind the question itself. Because they started asking questions. Like you're doing right now. She wouldn't say another word about it. Not that night, not for days after. Week 4, I started paying closer attention to the house itself. Mark and Diane were never both away from the property at the same time. One of them always stayed close, even when they claimed to be running errands. The boat at the end of the dock had a heavy padlock on it, the kind you'd use for something valuable, not an old fishing boat that never left its mooring. And out of 6 bedrooms in that house, only 3 were ever used. Mine in the cottage, Emily's and the master bedroom. The other 3 stayed locked, always, no matter the time of day. When I asked Diane about them, she said storage. Old furniture. Nothing interesting. She said it fast, the way people answer questions they've already rehearsed. I wanted to believe her. Week 5 is when I found the journal. Emily was sick in bed with a stomach bug, and while tidying her room, I found a spiral notebook shoved deep under the bed frame, pushed back against the wall like someone had wanted it forgotten. Not Emily's handwriting. A diary belonging to someone named Rachel, dated from the previous summer. The early entries were normal. Same job, same house, same cottage. Same easy mornings by the water, but they got shorter. Stranger, page by page. Diane asked if I'd noticed anything missing from the house. I said no. She seemed relieved. Emily told me not to go near the boat. She started crying when I asked why. I think there's something in the locked rooms. I heard movement again last night. Not raccoons. Something heavier. Something that pauses between steps like it's listening. The last entry just said, "I'm leaving tomorrow. I don't care about the pay." Something is wrong with this family, and I don't want to find out what before I go. There was nothing after that. Just blank pages, dozens of them, like she'd planned to keep writing and never got the chance. I put the journal back exactly where I found it and didn't sleep that night. The next day, I went looking for Sandra. Her car was in the driveway. No one answered the door. I tried 3 more times that week, at different hours, hoping to catch her outside. Same thing every time. Silence behind the curtains. By week 6, her porch light stopped turning on at night. I noticed because I'd started watching for it, almost without meaning to. The way you watch for a lighthouse on a dark stretch of water. That same week, things started showing up in my cottage that I hadn't put there. A child's drawing slipped under my door sometime while I slept. Not in Emily's style. Older, more detailed, like it had been drawn by someone closer to my own age. It showed the lake house from the water, looking back toward shore. In the window of the guest cottage, my window, a small stick figure stood, watching. "That's not mine," Emily said when I showed her. "That's one of theirs." "Whose?" She turned the volume up on the TV and wouldn't look at me again that day, not even when I said her name twice. The footsteps stopped being occasional after that. They came almost every night now. Sometimes they'd stop directly outside my door and just stay there, not knocking, not moving, just standing for minutes at a time while I lay frozen on the other side, listening to my own heartbeat. I started sleeping with the lights on. By week 7, I decided to leave early. I told Diane a family emergency had come up, that I needed to go home. She didn't argue. She didn't even seem surprised. If anything, she looked almost relieved, the same way Sandra had looked relieved when I'd first mentioned being new. "That's what the last one said too," she said. "What happened to her? She left in the middle of the night. Didn't even say goodbye to Emily." Then she added something I still think about, word for word even now. "Most of them make it to week 9. You're actually doing better than most." I asked what was supposed to happen at week 10. She just smiled, thin and tired, the kind of smile that doesn't reach the eyes, and walked back inside without another word. That night, I packed quietly, trying not to wake Emily down the hall. Around midnight, the footsteps started again. Same slow pace on the gravel path between the lake and my door. But this time, they didn't stop outside. This time, they stopped directly behind me inside the cottage, even though I had locked that door myself less than an hour before. I turned around. No one there. But the air had changed. Heavier, colder, like something had just been standing close enough to touch me and had only just stepped back into the dark. I didn't wait for morning. I climbed out the window instead of using the door, walked 2 miles down the unlit lake road, and called a cab from the first gas station with enough signal to get through. I never went back for my things. I never spoke to Diane or Mark again. Months later, I tried the number from the original flyer, disconnected. I looked up the lake house address online, out of curiosity, just to see if the family had moved or sold the place. What I found wasn't a listing. It was a missing persons report. A young woman named Rachel. Last seen at that exact address, the summer before I arrived. She had been their 4th nanny. I was the 5th. I never learned what was behind those 3 locked rooms, or under that padlock on the boat, or why Emily flinched every time someone mentioned week 10. I still wonder if there's been a 6th nanny since me, a 7th. Each one hearing the same footsteps, finding the same kind of journal under the same bed, leaving before a date no one ever explained to them, carrying the same unanswered questions down that same dark road. If you ever see a flyer for a live-in summer nanny job, paying almost double what it should for a family that needs someone for exactly 10 weeks. Ask why? Ask why it's always 10 weeks. And whatever Diane tells you, whatever Emily won't say, don't stay past week 9.